Hello and welcome to my channel, Single with No Kids, or SWNK for short. Thank you for clicking on this video. And if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Renita, and I've been doing a series on how I found out that I've been doing relationships all wrong, or I'm gonna call it DRAW, or D.R.A.W for short. Yes, I've been doing relationships all wrong. And I made a list of things that have been discovered recently by myself on how I've been doing relationships all wrong. So, going from the alphabet from A to Z, I'm doing the letter D today. I got that letter D for you today on how I've been doing relationships all wrong. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. And the first word that I wrote down that I thought about was denial. So denial is one of the words: deceit, deflection, depression, discern, desperation, desire, disappointment, those kind of things. And if you can think of any other D words that I could incorporate, or a D word that I might have forgotten, feel free to leave me a comment, click like, subscribe, share, send me a message or a comment or something, and we can get into it talking about the letter D. So the first one, like I said, is denial. I've discovered that in doing relationships all wrong, denial has probably been a huge part in how I've dealt with relationships with friends, family members, lovers, platonic interactions and relations with opposite sex, same sex, being in denial, and not calling those things as they were, not calling people out, maybe not even speaking up as much as I should have, but being in denial also in a sense of not believing that what is happening, not believing that this person that I'm trusting, being vulnerable with and friendly to, is actually deceiving me or betraying me or anything. And I will say we all have a sense of intuition. We all have a level of discernment. And deep down inside, sometimes you feel those things, those things deep down inside. But sometimes the denial factor keeps you from addressing those things or doing whatever the spirit or your intuition and the universe and the guides are telling you to do. You're in denial. I've been in denial because I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe that so and so would X, Y, and Z. I can't believe that this is really what's happening right now. So I've been in denial in some relationships where I've been doing it all wrong, and that hasn't served me. But I know it now, being in denial, which takes me back to one of my points of having balance and figuring out that this isn't for me anymore, or I need to address this, or I need to deal with this in a way. So there's another D word: deal with this. But a lot of times when you deal with things with certain people, they try to diminish you. They try to downplay what you're talking about. There's another D word. There's another D word. Excuse me. They try to diminish or downplay what you're talking about, like they're the only ones who could be prophets or have some insight as to what's going on. So in a sense, they're in denial because they don't want you to know the truth, which leads to another word later down in the alphabet is gaslighting. So being in denial has not served me in doing my relationships all wrong, where I needed to address something and I didn't. So moving on, deceit was one of the words, the D words that I had thought about is people being deceitful, deceit in conversations, deceit in the relationships. Somebody always has something that they're thinking about you, but you don't always know what they're thinking about you. But then when things happen, you know that they've been doing things with you in mind that have not served you, that does not work for you, that isn't to your benefit, but only to theirs. And one thing that I've come to realize also is, as far as deceit, is kind of like backstabbing and sowing discord. There's another D word. A lot of times when people are sowing discord about you, And why a lot of us don't remain friends with certain people is because somebody spends too much time talking about you to other people. And in a sense, with that, they've spent so much time talking about you to other people that they almost can't even face you anymore, right? That's a level of deceit. Say for instance, I'm cool with you and you're cool with her, and we're all cool sometimes, but then when you and her talk, you end up talking about me, which in turn keeps you from really talking to me, or keeps her from really talking to me because of the things that she said. And it brings me to mind, I don't know if you've ever watched Insecure, if you're familiar with Insecure with Issa Rae and Amanda Seals and a couple of other characters, right? Insecure, where they were all friends, they all went to college together, and they all shared each other's business, and they all talked about each other. But eventually, if I spent so much time talking about you, about your business to so and so, then eventually we would talk about it all together, because I've been saying this and she's been saying this, and we all agree that we should talk to you about this. It's not always like that. Oh my, how it would be so much simpler if it was like that. If you and your friends could really address the elephant in the room and have a discussion about what's being said behind your back, that would be a whole lot better. And it will serve you a whole lot better if that's how people dealt with you. But you know, the way that we set up these days, sowing discord, backstabbing, and being deceitful, that's the thing to do. But it really isn't. So after deceit, talk about deflection. And after dealing with toxic environments and situations with narcissistic people and toxic environments and toxic people, deflection is huge. I had no idea that this was really a thing, right? But the deflection is from, let me see, me bringing up an issue to you, but in turn, you make it seem like I'm the one that's the problem, like I'm making things up, like I'm really not seeing what I think I'm seeing, or I didn't say it like that and you heard it wrong. And why would you say that? And where do you get this from? And I dealt with somebody that used to do me like that. I would bring things to them and try to address issues with them, and they would just always try to make me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about, when deep down inside, I knew what I was talking about, but they were trying to deflect me from my own inner thoughts and trusting myself, trying to deflect me from trusting myself with the lies and the deceit and the things that they were doing to benefit them, to keep me from addressing them and correcting the issue. So where I would want to correct the issue or I want to address it, a person that's deflecting from the issue doesn't want to do anything. They don't want to resolve it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to have a come to Jesus moment because they don't think that they're doing anything wrong. Scratch that. They know that they're doing something wrong, but they don't want you to be on to the fact that they're doing something wrong. So in turn, they deflect it and make it seem like it's you that has the issue. Yeah, I've been doing that wrong in my relationships. Doing Oh my God, doing it so wrong in my relationships, especially with me not having any kids and dealing with other people that have kids, be it a family member, a lover, a friend, or whatever. There's always some level of deflection that takes place in a situation where I'm trying to get something done, being considerate, understanding, and thoughtful, or whatever. And then there's always the flip side of it where they try to make it seem like it's your fault, or they don't have time, or you're not enough. All of those lies, you know how the enemy does. But nonetheless, deflection can be an issue in your friendships and in your relationships, platonic or romantic. And that's what I found out, um, doing relationships all wrong. And I'm usually an open-minded person. I'm usually considerate, understanding, and thoughtful. But at the same time, some of that stuff, being considerate, understanding, and thoughtful, those things tend to lead to your kindness being taken as a weakness. Like that's really a thing when people take your kindness for a weakness and they try to get over on you by deflecting from the issues that you're trying to address, right? Ooh, it's a mouthful, but as long as you can deal with it and grab that bull by the horns or whatever, whether they're going to accept it or rejected, that's on them. And then you just decide to move accordingly depending on their response or their reaction. Especially with narcissistic or toxic people, you have to cut that thing off. You might not want to, but you have to cut that thing off because a lot of us tend to stay longer than we should. And I'm usually the type of person, I don't like to overstay my welcome. I don't have any kids. I'm an only child. So I really know when people really want to be bothered with me and really want to deal with me. But sometimes I've had past tense, I've had the tendency to stick around too long and it hasn't served me. So we're not going to be doing that anymore. Right. So after deflection, there's, I'll say a desire. Desire as far as wanting things to work, as far as wanting things to not be so one-sided, as far as wanting the friendship to blossom and flourish like it should, desire as to wanting things to be done for you, wanting somebody to care for you, wanting somebody to take a genuine interest in you and what you have going on. So you can have that desire and it might be like you're in la la land or you're dreaming or you're delusional or whatever, but it's actually a real thing to have a desire to want somebody to even treat you right. Like you shouldn't even have to be begging for that as a human first and as a woman second. Yes, I shouldn't have to beg to have my desires met. I shouldn't have to be daydreaming and delusional, expecting some kind of desire in the person that I'm dealing with, platonic or romantic or family or friends, aren't fulfilling that, because sometimes it's one-sided where they get all of their needs met, but your desire is to have somebody to fill you up as well and to reciprocate that, and they don't. Yeah, we're not staying there. We're not going to stay. We're not going to overstay our welcome in that situation anymore. And if my desires aren't being met, then I'm out, because it's really a thing where I could do bad all by myself. And if I could fulfill some of the things that I want to be accomplishing and have done, and you're not willing or capable, then there's no point in me sitting here trying to make sure that you do some stuff and trying to tell you what to do and all that other stuff. I didn't learn, and this is a word for later in the alphabet, I didn't learn how to finesse. I didn't learn how to finesse a man out of whatever I wanted him to do. I didn't learn how to finesse the situation where it works to my advantage and both of us could be satisfied. I did not learn that. So that's a little bit of my fault. And I'm working on that. I've been rough around the edges my whole life, but being able to finesse a situation where it's a fair exchange and not a robbery, I haven't actually conquered that yet. And that's okay, because there is somebody that is specifically tailor made for me to do things that I desire the way that it needs to be done. So, and outside of the finessing part, and outside of the desire, is disappointment. Because when your desires aren't being met in a relationship, be it friendship, platonic, lovers, family members, friends, whatever, when there is a level of disappointment in a situation, it's really frustrating. And in me doing relationships all wrong, I've dealt with different levels of disappointment in friendships and relationships and romantic relationships. I've dealt with a level of disappointment in relationships that it hasn't served me. Once I do the work and I think about it and stuff, the level of disappointment does not equate the amount of satisfaction, if that makes sense, if I'm saying it right. Like, it's a temporary satisfaction. It's temporary. It's a temporary fix. It does it for a little while, but then after a while, there's still certain levels or small amounts of disappointment. And I'm over that. And not saying that I'm looking for instant gratification, but eventually there should be no levels of disappointment in the relationships that you have going on with your friends, your family, your lovers, whomever, your day ones, whoever it is that you know that you can call on, things of that nature. I'm not saying that it's not going to ever be a level of disappointment, but the levels of disappointment should be minimized in certain situations. And usually what I've done is just, I take it on the chin. I'll just be like, whatever. Things happen. I know that things don't always go my way, and that's a misconception that people have about only children, is that we always want stuff to go our way. You might think that I'm a control freak, but I really think that I give an equal balance to everybody. I don't expect myself from other people all the time, but I do expect some reciprocation, and I do expect that I've sowed good seeds that should come back to me, and I should, I should reap what I've sowed, because that's what the Bible says, right? You reap what you sow. But if I'm putting out good energy, if I'm putting out um, good vibes, and I'm a glass half full type of person, and I'm energetic, and I'm ambitious, and I'm all of these things, I'm positive, I'm motivating, and I'm encouraging for you, I absolutely expect some of that in return. Maybe not from you, the individual per se, but I absolutely expect a little bit of that sprinkle come back in reciprocation to me after levels of disappointment. But the people that you pour into sometimes aren't always going to be the people that give back to you. And I understand that now. So in all that I getting understanding, and I understand that now what I've done for somebody else, they are not always going to be able to do it for me. And maybe not that they can't do it for me. They might not be willing to do it for me. And then that's a whole nother conversation, because if you're not willing to give back to your friend, to your sister, to who you say that you love and you care about, then that's a problem in itself also. And maybe there should be some distance, another D word, that should be placed in between us, because things aren't being reciprocated. You're not going to keep breadcrumbing me and call yourself my friend. You're not going to keep breadcrumbing me and call yourself my lover, or a potential interest, or a suitor. You're not going to do me like that. Not anymore, because that behavior no longer serves me. And that is not what's about to be happening. So, I mean, and sometimes you can't do anything about the level of disappointment it comes. Like, say for instance, I wanted to buy a watch, and I saw the watch and it was on sale, and then I was like, man, it's really not the watch for me, but maybe I should go ahead and get it. And then I left it at the store, and then I went back, and there was a level of disappointment there, because that watch that I was interested in, that was on sale, that I didn't take advantage of, it was no longer there. That's fine. That's the only kind of disappointment I want, is that that shirt might not be there, that watch might not be available, they might not have my size. That's fine. Something might come along better, and I will be okay with that. But disappointment from humans and friends, lovers, platonic or romantic, things of that nature, yeah, we doing our best to minimize that, and we not having that going forward. We're not going to accept or allow disappointment, as well as another D word, which is disrespect. Sometimes we stick around for too long because some people are very good at masking their disrespect. Um, Low key, it's blows and it's insults, and it's to boost their self-esteem and to make them feel better about themselves, that they disrespect you in a way that you're not really sure if you were disrespected, but it feels like you were disrespected, but the way that they said it didn't seem like it was disrespectful. Yeah, that no longer serves me. And it might take me a minute to figure out that I'm being disrespected, but once I figure out that I'm being disrespected, yeah, I'm cool. I've overstayed my welcome in certain situations before, where I just let stuff slide because I didn't address it. I didn't check it. I didn't correct it, because a lot of times people want you to say stuff. People will say stuff to you to see how you react and respond. And a lot of times I didn't say stuff because I knew that people were looking for a response or a reaction from me. So therefore, I would just ignore what they were saying instead of addressing it, checking it, and correct it. But the level of disrespect by folks these days is astronomical, and it's ridiculous, and it's absolutely rude. And some folks deserve to be punched in the throat. I don't condone violence, but sometimes if you have to defend yourself using your hands, then so be it. But the level of disrespect, we're not doing that anymore. If it feels slightly disrespectful, I might be what I want to say. I might be flying off of the handle. I might be taking things too personally. I might be whatever the case may be. If you didn't mean it like that, then you shouldn't have said it like that. So the way that I'm going to respond or react is in a way to check and correct, and as well as address what I feel is disrespectful, and to let you know that I don't like it. I don't think it's funny. And you're not about to do that to me. Right? I've let too many things slide before in the past. And I'm just to the point now where I know that I have to speak up and I know that I have to say something. Like one day I was at work, and this lady walked past me and she said, "You sure do look lonely." And I said, and I should have addressed her, corrected her, and checked her all right there. But what I said was, why do I have to look lonely? Why can't I look like I'm just minding my business? Why can't I look like I'm just getting ready for my workday? Why does it have to be that I look lonely? Like, who says that to somebody? Is that how you really feel about yourself? You really feel like you're lonely? Well, don't put that off on me. I'm fine and fabulous and free. Why would you think that I look lonely because I'm sitting here minding my business? I'm not bothering anybody. But what I should have said was, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing to me. If you can't say anything better than that to me, don't talk to me. And that's what it's really about to be like with checking, correcting, and addressing disrespectful behavior from people that look for a reaction or a response. I guess maybe you're about to get it. Let's see. So one other word, a D word. I got another one. Being desperate. Um, I never thought that I was. I've never felt like I was really a desperate type of person. Not desperation at all, because like I said, I'm single. I don't have any kids, and I'm an only child. I know how to entertain and be by myself, and thankfully, my God keeps me, protects me, provides for me, and all of those things, sustains me. So I never felt like I might be giving off a level of desperation, but I guess when you be single so long and somebody does come along, you want to put your best foot forward. Some of us put our representatives out there. Some of us are just, what you see is what you gonna get. And if I am a giver, if I do cook too much food, if I do make a lot, if I do have something going on, then I might want somebody else to be involved, because that's how you are when you're trying to develop and build a relationship with somebody, right? When you're trying to cultivate a relationship with somebody, honestly, you make yourself available, but that's something that you can't really do these days because it shows a little bit of desperation. However, we're not doing that anymore because it doesn't serve us now, does it? So I've learned with dealing with toxic environment and people and narcissistic people in certain situations that you cannot give off any level of desperation. And what I found out about myself is that my cutoff game is strong. I didn't know it before, like I had it before, but I guess I lost it along the way. But my cutoff game is strong. If you're going to act like I don't matter, if you're going to act like you're not really interested, if you're going to be, I don't like inactivity. So if you're not really giving me no action and we're not really having dialogue, in it, I say at least the first 72 hours, if we really not talking about nothing, I'm sorry, if you're really not talking about doing anything in the first 72 hours, then I'm not going to stick around to see if you will be talking about something. How about I just go and make something happen for myself? How about I just go and do something that makes me feel good instead of being desperate, waiting to see if you want to do something with me? Yeah, we're not doing that anymore because it no longer serves us. And we are going to move on and cut you off just as fast as we met you, right? We're not doing that anymore. And my final D word is discernment. Like I said, we all have a level of discernment. We all have woman's intuition. We all have the thing from the universe. We all know when God talks to us. We all know when the spirit is saying what it's saying. So what we have to do is no longer dismiss the discerning that comes in situations from people that you're dealing with, and don't dismiss it. You see them red flags, you cut them off. Don't make those red flags green. Don't wear that red flag like it's a scarf and it goes with your clothes and your outfit. No, you address that red flag, you cut that red flag off, you do what the spirit is saying, because at the time spirit is trying to let you know that something ain't right, and that red flag is not going to turn green. It shouldn't turn green, because when you ignore that, you wind up with a level of disappointment that it's sometimes hard to recover from. So we are going to listen to the spirit. We're going to use our discerning intuition power as we have it. And since it no longer serves us to not be discerning in situations, we are going to activate discernment and use it accordingly. use it wisely, and make sure that you seek, some godly wisdom in the situation to avoid you from having more disappointment than you need. You don't need any more disappointment. It doesn't serve us. We're not having disappointment no more because it didn't serve us when we was getting it. We're not going to be dealing with disrespect no more because it doesn't serve us. We're going to do something totally different, which I encourage you, if you haven't been, and depending on what kind of situation that you're in, you might be depressed, you might be downtrodden, you might be weary and well doing and things of that nature. But let me encourage you to get busy living. Now that we know that things no longer serve us because we figured out that we've been doing relationships all wrong, we are going to get busy living out loud, live and direct, front and center. Get busy living. Because I promise you, the people that's been oppressing you and doing those things to you and that causes you the disappointment and being disrespectful and all of those things, I promise you, they get in their life. So what we are going to do is get our life as well, and pray that God might have mercy on them, or just pray for them to be blessed, because the Bible says to pray for them that spitefully misuse you, right? And it also says that God will take from the wicked and give to the righteous, and that the wicked will soon be cut off. So lift them up in prayer and go on about your day and figure out how to get busy living. And that's it on the D. Next word, next letter in the alphabet after D, you know what it is. So I'll see you and we'll get off into the letter E. And again, if you have any words that I might have forgotten to mention or something that might not have crossed my mind, please drop me a comment, leave me a message, click like, click shares, click subscribe, and get at me. And until then, I'll see you next time. And what are we going to do? We going to get busy living. Enjoy your day.